A warm welcome to Diplomatic Channel this week. I'm Amarachi Ubani. Airstrikes around hospitals and evacuations pause fear in Gaza for the injured and for those still living in the Gaza Strip. Yet the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu insists there will be no ceasefire until Israeli hostages taken by Hamas militants are released. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says a war in Gaza is taking away focus from the conflict in Ukraine. We revisit the Russia-Ukraine war. Plus, Nigerians in Arlington, Texas get huge commendation from the mayor for positive impact on their community. We'll be talking to Pastor Femi Kajabola, the president of the Appreciation Day for Nigerians in Arlington, Texas, on what the recognition means and the good work Nigerians have been doing there. That's Diplomatic Channel in a wrap. Let's take a quick check on other discussions in diplomatic circles, and we'll be right back. Former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and former Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison on Sunday visited Kibbutz Kfar Aza in Israel, which was devastated by Hamas militants on October 7. Accompanied by Israeli soldiers and officials, they walked into some of the houses burned during the attacks.
There's been no single attack like this on the Jewish people since the Second World War, and that's a matter of record. And you know what? I think that that may be because across the world, the memory and the lesson of that appalling crime, and 6 million died, the memory may be starting to fade. And it may be that what we're really seeing now in some of these marches and these demos and the unthinking way people are talking about this issue, well, we're starting to see perhaps, I really hope this isn't the case, but you're seeing more and more evidence of anti-Semitism. And in the end, that is something that simply cannot be tolerated, neither in my country nor anywhere else. If people could see the evidence that I've just seen and that Scott has just seen, what they would see is the absolutely incontrovertible evidence of families in the last extremity of suffering and fear, and completely innocent, trying to protect themselves against brutal killers, and people who are setting out to attack and to brutalize the most innocent and defenseless. And Scott is right. That is the exact opposite of what the Israeli Defense Forces are trained to do.
Look around. This is the end of anti-Semitism. This is where it ends. Those expressions of hate and against Jewish people. This is what it becomes, what we're seeing around us here today. That's why it can't be tolerated in its most smallest form, because it starts as a mustard seed and it grows into this horror.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Sunday met with Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas during his second trip to the region since the decades-old Israeli-Palestinian conflict reignited. Blinken met foreign ministers from Qatar, Saudi, Egypt, Jordan, and the United Arab Emirates in Amman on Saturday and pushed for Washington to persuade Israel to agree to a ceasefire. However, Mr. Blinken dismissed the idea of a ceasefire, saying it would only benefit Hamas, allowing it to regroup and attack again. Finally, former German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock met with Azeri President Ilham Aliyev over the weekend as part of her efforts to revive Azerbaijan's peace talks with Armenia. The meeting in Baku took place on the second day of a 4-day visit to the region, which is focused on bringing about lasting peace in the southern Caucasus. On Friday, Baerbock visited Armenia and met with Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan. Welcome back. Evacuations have been suspended at the Rafah border between Gaza and Egypt, causing more anxiety for those injured and the foreigners cleared to leave. Here's more on the ongoing Israel-Hamas war.
Foreign nationals said they were stuck at Gaza's Rafah border crossing on Sunday after Egypt announced the suspension of evacuations following a deadly attack on an ambulance. Efforts were underway to resume evacuations of injured Gazans and foreign nationals through the Rafah crossing to Egypt, Egyptian, US and Qatari officials. People with German and Egyptian Sinai Peninsula is the only exit point for Gaza not controlled by Israel. Evacuations of injured Gazans and foreign passport holders through the Rafah crossing has been suspended since Saturday, after an Israeli strike on Friday on an ambulance in Gaza being used to transport injured people. Evacuations began on Wednesday, November the 1st, under an internationally brokered deal aimed at letting some foreign passport holders, their dependents, and some wounded Gazans out of the enclave. On Sunday, the Palestinian Red Crescent Society in Gaza released videos showing footage of heavy bombardment targeting areas surrounding Al-Quds Hospital in Gaza City and paramedics rushing to evacuate the injured. Israeli Defense Forces have accused Hamas of systematically exploiting hospitals as part of its war machine. IDF spokesperson Daniel Hagari has said Israel was striking based on intelligence and within international law, adding, "We do not want to strike hospitals and ambulances."
Hamas systematically exploits hospitals as part of its war machine. This is a satellite image of the hospital complex taken after the massacre of 7th of October. I am going to zoom in on the area here, okay, across the street. Only 75 meters, 80 meters to the hospital. Here, the IDF identified a launch pad, meaning they launch rockets from here. I want to repeat it. They launch rockets on Israel 75 meters from an hospital. Why? They know precisely that if Israel will airstrike a launch pad like that, the hospital would be damaged.
The World Food Programme has made a desperate plea for the safe delivery of humanitarian aid to Gaza. It released a statement on Sunday stating that aid currently entering Gaza is nowhere near enough to meet the needs of the people there.
People are living in a horrific nightmare. Food and water are running out. A steady flow of aid is needed to meet the desperate needs now. Humanitarians must be able to deliver it safely, and civilians must be able to reach it safely. Without this, lives will be lost and conflict will spread.
But Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu insists there will be no ceasefire until all of the more than 240 hostages captured by the Hamas militants on October the 7th are returned. He was making the comments during a conversation to forces at an Air Force base in southern Israel. But Israel has indicated it will not consider use of nuclear weapons, such as the nuclear bomb. This was in contrast with what Junior Minister Amihai Eliyahu said earlier on Sunday. Eliyahu, the Israeli Heritage Minister, made the comment about dropping a nuclear bomb on Gaza in an interview with an ultra-Orthodox radio station called Barama. Asked if that meant that using nuclear weapons might be justified, the minister did not rule it out. Eliyahu plays no role in the conduct of the war in Gaza. He has been suspended from all government meetings until further notice. The comment, however, is not lost on Hamas. In a video statement on Sunday, member of the Hamas political office and media officer Ezat al-Rashek said Amihai Eliyahu's comment did not come out of nowhere. He said the statement by what is called the Israeli Heritage Minister in the Zionist government that throwing a nuclear weapon on the Gaza Strip is one of the solutions didn't come out of nowhere. But it is an expression on the level of decadence, Nazism and sadism that takes place in the minds of the government of the occupying entity, which is Israel, that is based on murder and genocide and deal with others as if they are animals that look like people, as stated by the Occupation War Minister Benny Gantz. In the first days of this brutal aggression on our people, people in the Gaza Strip.
بمن فيهم 4000 طفل حتى الآن.
This all comes as U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken left Tel Aviv on Sunday as he continues a tour of the region amid spiraling tensions over Israel's war with Hamas. And the situation in the Rafah crossing remains uncertain for those waiting to get out of the war in Gaza.
On the other hand, war fatigue may be setting into the Russian invasion of Ukraine, on the Ukrainian side, that is, and for the donors. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky admitted on Sunday the counteroffensive in the south has so far made little headway. It also says attention that used to be on Ukraine appears to have shifted to the war in the Middle East, and Ukraine still needs to gain the upper hand in its relations with Russia.
Amidst the war in the Middle East between Israel and Hamas, President Vladimir Zelensky would like to remind the world Ukraine is still fighting a war.
Easy! Насыпай!
On Sunday, he admitted that the Israel-Gaza war is taking away the focus from the conflict in Ukraine, saying this is one of Russia's goals. He denies fighting in Ukraine has reached a stalemate despite recent assessment to this effect by the country's top military general. Ukraine's counteroffensive in the south has so far made little headway. It has prompted fears of war fatigue among Kyiv's Western allies, with suggestions of growing reluctance in some capitals to continue giving Ukraine advanced weapons and funds. Meanwhile, on Saturday, European Union President said Ukraine had made great progress towards EU accession days ahead of a key report on Kyiv's membership.
I want to tell you how impressed we are by the reforms you've made in the midst of a war. You should never forget you are fighting an existential war, and at the same time, you're deeply reforming your country. You have reached many milestones, reforming your justice system, curbing the oligarchs' grip, tackling money laundering, and much more.
For Ukraine, and to start accession talks. Have the conversations today with...
And I know that you are in the process of completing outstanding reforms. If this happens, and I'm confident, Ukraine can reach its ambitious goal of moving to the next stage in the accession process.
The EU assessment due on Wednesday is expected to say how far Ukraine has advanced in fulfilling various economic, legal and other criteria to clear the way for accession talks in December. Ukraine, which applied to join the European Union days after Russia's full-scale invasion in February 2022, sees membership as a top priority. Membership talks typically take years and involve extensive legal, political and economic reforms. Ukraine's case has been made much harder by the war.
Bringing it back home now, Nigerians in Arlington, Texas have been recognized by the mayor, Jim Ross. He announced a couple of months ago that Nigerians get to have their own Appreciation Day on September 10th of every year. I had a chat with the president of the Appreciation Day, Pastor Femi Kajabola, on the significance of the day and the impact Nigerians are making on their community there. Joining me now is Pastor Femi Kajabola. He is the president of Appreciation Day for Nigerians in Arlington, Texas. He is also senior pastor of Light of the World Mission in Arlington, Texas as well. Pastor Kajabola, thank you for joining us on the program today.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Yeah, and I want to say a big congratulations because it's huge, isn't it? Having the mayor of Arlington visit Nigerians in Arlington especially, and then to recognize them and to declare that September 10 is Nigerian Day in Arlington, Texas.
Yes. Yes, that's what happened, and I think Mayor must have been seeing what the impact what Nigeria is making in Arlington. I believe that's what really pushed him to do that.
Let's talk about what Nigerians are doing in Arlington. Give us a sense of, some of the community work, that Nigerians participate in, and how they're impacting their community.
Yeah, like in our church, which I know most of churches in Arlington does that. We like 3 times in a month we do community service. We give out the food to the less privileged people that lost their job, the old women, especially even the time of COVID. We really sometimes I sleep overnight on the road, minister to the community. So we does a lot, and I know the news must have gone to the mayor that this Nigeria, most of the whites comes there, they'll be wondering, this is black doing this. Most of the time, see them cry, So, and it's not only our church; many Nigerian churches are really doing it in Arlington. So, I mean, we have really impacted Arlington.
Yeah, you talk about a lot of work, during COVID. Could you give us a sense of, more of what that entailed? Were you going door to door to provide food? Because a lot of people were, really couldn't afford, to survive through COVID because of the lockdown restrictions involved people staying at home.
Yes.
So how were you contributing to, community development? Were you going from door to door offering people supplies as well as food, or did you have like a food bank somewhere that people were required to go to?
Yeah, we have a food bank that we have a company that we are partnership together. We sometimes we take it to their door because of most of them they are old women that you have to. Sometimes they will put a cut through. Oh, pastor, we need so that we have to go there with our car, deliver it in the time of COVID because most of the old women, most of them they can't come out because of the station, of the nation there.
Pastor Femi, how was the church able to afford this during that time?
Yeah, so most of the members contributed. Then because we have what we call 501c that enable us to have partner to some company that they can release these things. Yeah, sometimes we have to go and do some job to bring some money together to buy some things, get something from the company. We partners together can pay a little. That's why we're able to raise the fund. So that can part our community.
Yes, but let's come back to the present. I know that it was a bit, surprising for you hearing the mayor, announce that September 10 was going to be Nigerian Day. How do you think you heard about, the good work that Nigerians have been doing in his own community, resulting in him making that surprising announcement?
Yeah, I think even sometimes the doing of community outreach, even the police come there, they pick what they want. Because even the police of Arlington, some there will come because some people still don't like it. Some white, they are so angry, sometimes they will call the police. By the time the police come there and they see you mean this is what we do? Oh, I'm sorry. And they will pick whatever they want and they will go. I think the news got to the mayor and he said, Pastor Femi, can you help me to bring out Nigerians together? And that's that's how this thing started. We keep talking to Nigerians. I started the advert, even though I try to call some Nigeria, they don't believe it that it's real. I spend my money. Some people like the CEO of the Divine Migration in Minnesota, she supported. We put the money to do the advert. Oh, mayor want to celebrate Nigerian, So when the mayor began to see that really serious, and he was so excited to meet Nigerian, because he said in Arlington today, a lot of Nigeria has made a lot of impact that cannot be denied. It's real. You can see it everywhere.
That's what I wanted you to talk a lot more about. What else Nigerians are doing in Arlington to distinguish themselves from other immigration groups? Other migrants groups, in the United States?
Like now, when you get to Arlington, you see most of the African store. We have a lot of African store that hold by Nigeria. We have a lot of most of lawyers, well read, people, some things that some places that I cannot even imagine that Nigerians occupy in Arlington. Some key posts in Arlington. So I believe Mayor is, I mean, he was so afraid that, wow, Nigeria owns this. He told me in confidence that Nigeria owns most of the restaurants in Arlington. Can you believe that?
Does he
So
eat in
Mayor
any of
said,
those restaurants?
the restaurants, I'm talking of
I
like the
know.
African
Has the
restaurants.
mayor eaten in any of those restaurants?
He loved to. He was telling me that when he come back, because always be that we want me to take him there so that I can have most of our, most of our food. And he's a very free man, and he loves to be in Nigeria. In fact, he told me that I should talk to the president, that he would like to meet with the president, that they want to partnership together. They want to see what they can do for Nigeria. Most of the
I,
students. He told me that.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
And recently, Nigeria celebrated 63 years of independence. What was the celebration like in Arlington for you?
Yeah, what happened is that in every churches they celebrated it because of our times here, because of how busy. So every churches you can see them. They put on the white grain. Everybody, you see everybody raising the flag, and they really celebrated it here in Arlington. But now that we have but now that we have Appreciation Day in Arlington, the next one is going to be more powerful because we really want to package it. We want to bring some people in. We want to bring some our obas, some governors, some what do you call them? Some people that are important, some local government chairman. We want to bring them to appreciate them in Arlington, because it's a appreciation day. People that's impacting Nigeria, people that have impacting their community, like all these theologians, we want to bring them here to appreciate them, what they have been doing for community. It's about community.
And what do
That is why
Nigerians in
issued.
Arlington think about, the situation back home? More and more people are leaving Nigeria these days. Over the last 5 years, thousands of people, I don't want to say millions, but thousands of people have, resigned from jobs. You have doctors leaving every few weeks. You have people going to study and then moving on to live in the US and in other cities across the world. What do people in Arlington, what do Nigerians in Arlington make of this so-called exodus from the country?
Yes, well, I think with the present government, like I have been telling people, I believe in this government that is just coming up. That very soon things are going to change. I believe very soon people will love to come back home, because when you get to America, whatever knowledge, whatever the explosion you have, we have to take it back home to make our nation great. That is what is in our mind, and that's what I want to arrive to, and that's what is going to help us in this Abolition Day. And that's one of the things
People
we are
willing
going to
to
be
come
addressing.
back? Are there people willing to come
What is it?
back to make this nation great
Yeah,
again?
yes, by the grace of God, in this that's why we are there. We are going to be educating people. By the time the country is getting better, we have to go there to impact our own country with what knowledge, everything we have acquired, our exposures, what we see is good, we can do the same thing in our country.
So you
It's
mean
possible.
that you are willing to come back, Pastor Femi Kajagbola?
By the
You're willing to
we
come
have
back to
somebody to,
Nigeria, and you have a
yes,
group of
I'm willing to
Nigerians who
come
are
back to
willing
make a
to come back
difference.
to Nigeria to make Nigeria great
Yeah,
again. Oh
to
wow!
make Nigerian great.
I will hold you to that. We'll check back with you in a few months. Pastor Femi
Yes,
Kajagbola, thank you for speaking with us on Diplomatic Channel.
yes, madam.
This is where we end the program this week. I hope you'll join us again for the next edition. I'm Amarachi Ubani. I'll see you next time.